Holy City of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a city located in modern-day Israel, and is considered by many to be one of the holiest places in the world. Jerusalem is a site of major significance for the three largest monotheistic religions, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, and both Israel and Palestine have claimed Jerusalem as a capital city. Because of these strong, age-old associations, bloody conflicts to control the city and sites within it have been waged for thousands of years. Early history of Jerusalem. Scholars believe the first human settlements in Jerusalem took place during the early Bronze Age somewhere around 3500 BC. In 1000 BC, King David conquered Jerusalem and made it the capital of the Jewish kingdom. His son, Solomon, built the first holy temple about 40 years later. The Babylonians occupied Jerusalem in 586 BC, destroyed the temple, and sent the Jews into exile. About 50 years after that, the Persian king Cyrus allowed Jews to return to Jerusalem and rebuild the temple. According to the Bible, the Israelite history of the city began in c. 1000 BCE, with King David's sack of Jerusalem, following which Jerusalem became the city of David and capital of the United Kingdom of Israel. According to the books of Samuel, the Jebusites managed to resist attempts by the Israelites to capture the city, and by the time of King David were mocking such attempts, claiming that even the blind and lame could defeat the Israelite army. Nevertheless, the Masoretic text for the books of Samuel states that David managed to capture the city by stealth, sending his forces through a water shaft and attacking the city from the inside. Archaeologists now view this as implausible, as the Gihon Spring, the only known location from which water shafts lead into the city, is now known to have been heavily defended, and hence an attack via this route would have been obvious rather than secretive. The older Septuagint text, however, suggests that rather than by a water shaft, David's forces defeated the Jebusites by using daggers rather than through the water tunnels coming through the Gihon Spring. There was another king in Jerusalem, Araunah, during, and possibly before, David's control of the city, according to the biblical narrative, who was probably the Jebusite king of Jerusalem. The city, which at that point stood upon the Ophel, was, according to the biblical account, expanded to the south, and declared by David to be the capital city of the kingdom of Israel. David also, according to the books of Samuel, constructed an altar at the location of a threshing floor he had purchased from Araunah. A portion of biblical scholars view this as an attempt by the narrative's author to give an Israelite foundation to a pre-existing sanctuary. In April 637, Caliph Umar traveled to Jerusalem in person to receive the submission of the city. The patriarch now surrendered to him. The Muslim conquest of the city solidified Arab control over Palestine, which would not again be threatened until the First Crusade in the late 11th century. Siege of Jerusalem, 70 CE, Roman military blockade of Jerusalem during the First Jewish Revolt. The fall of the city marked the effective conclusion of a 4-year campaign against the Jewish insurgency in Judea. The Romans destroyed much of the city, including the Second Temple. The majority of information on the siege comes from the copious notes of the Jewish historian, Flavius Josephus. On May 14, 1948, the day before the expiration of the British Mandate, David Ben-Gurion, the head of the Jewish Agency, declared the establishment of a Jewish state in Eretz Israel, to be known as the State of Israel. History of Jerusalem. During its long history, Jerusalem has been attacked 52 times, captured and recaptured 44 times, besieged 23 times, and destroyed twice. The oldest part of the city was settled in the 4th millennium BCE, making Jerusalem one of the oldest cities in the world.